welcome to Trinity Podcast, where we're helping Americans understand and master real estate investing, personal credit, and business credit. And most importantly, the money matrix, how it's rigged against you, how each one of these affects you, and how to leverage your Trinity wealth so that you can build your own economic independence. Today, we're going to be speaking about your personal credit. Joanna Wright here, founder, Bottom Line Wealth, and we have Becky Estep Noble, the credit coach queen, who's going to express all of these different ways for you today. She is such a master at what she does, and I'm super excited to have this Trinity podcast with my co-host here, Becky Estep Noble.
Yay, thanks. I am super excited to be here today. We pick our subjects a couple of weeks ahead of time, and we had decided a week or two ago that we really wanted to dive in and kind of pull out more strategies about personal credit and how you can actually use that as a tool in your toolbox to leverage your life. And so I'm all about teaching people how they need to look on paper in order to get what they want. And so I feel like everybody that comes and sees me, it's kind of like a puzzle. And so it's like, where are you at now? And where do you want to be? And so when it comes to your credit and how to use your credit to get you where you're at now and where you want to be. And so everybody's a little bit different because they have all these different credit challenges and things that have happened to them in the past. And so I enjoy like learning their story and then showing them the way that there is a way, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. That I've heard so many times people come to me, they'll be like, well, so-and-so told me, well, once you mess your credit up, it's messed up forever. And so, yeah, that always gets me. It's funny to me because that's not true at all. And actually, I think it's almost biblical. If you do something wrong to your credit in 7 years, it gets deleted. Like there's life after bad credit for sure.
What do you think are the top 3 stories that people bring to you?
The top 3 like challenges, something that they do in their life. And so I started to notice that pattern. I'm so glad you asked that, Miss Joanna. The main top 3 things is some sort of health issue, job loss, or divorce. Like those are the 3 big things that happen.
There's like medical collections on there kind of thing for the health part of it.
Okay. So there's a bunch of health maybe issues, and some of the medical didn't get taken care of by insurance, or they didn't have insurance. It was something that happened. So it's not typically like, oh man, they just never pay for their stuff ever, right? It's like, oh, I lost my job and I can't pay this, or I would pay it because I'm a good human citizen that wants to pay my bills. And then it's like, well, now I screwed it all up. I don't know what to do. And so then people come to me, and then I'm like, okay, well, here's your solutions. Let's work through a plan together. And so that's what I love about what you and I do, Joanna, because we also do a financial fitness class where we teach out of an app and people learn it. And then we just kind of work through the thought process of money and how money really works. And that's what this wealth building thing is all about. And so when it comes to credit, I know why I think it's important, because I've been doing this and helping people with this since over a decade. Why do you think?
Yeah, I was just going to ask that.
Why you think it's important?
Yeah. So actually, I would like people to type in the comments why they think credit is important. There's so many different reasons and uses, and that's what we're going to go over today, and a little strategy. So you guys, those of you that are ready to take it to the next level, we have a little strategy for you. But I would like you guys to type in the comments, why do you think your credit is important? Take a minute. And it's good for us to hear too, because there's a lot of myth busting that we do here on this Trinity podcast. And, it's unlike the other side of the world where you're not allowed to even be on social media, where Putin is putting um, a hex on anyone being able to know what's really going on. We want you guys to really see like behind the curtain and how things are done in the credit world, in the money world, in the real estate world, right? So, one of the things that I think credit is important for is when you're ready to get a loan, right, of any sort. That's going to be my statement there. What are some of the like top things that people are like, oh, well, I need my credit because what do they come to you for?
So that's a great question. 90% of the people, if it's not business related, because business opens up a whole nother strategy, a whole nother kind of like real estate deals, and you put contracts together, you're like the mad scientist that comes up with a way to make it happen. Like that's the business side of credit and personal. But I figure out a strategy to get, again, people what they want. But on the personal side, most people come to me because one, they want to buy a house, or two, they want to be able to purchase a car and not get like a horrible interest rate. And so those are the main two things. And then there's a third one that creeps in here and there, but it's really, really relevant. And it's security clearance for jobs.
Ooh, yeah. I forgot all about that. So, like when there was a lot of foreclosures happening, that was one of the things I talked to sellers about was if you need security clearance, you don't want foreclosure on your credit report. So, oh my God, that's been years. When the downfall of 2008 is where a lot of that happened at because people bought incorrectly, banking on appreciation. But yeah, that's a good point, Becky. Those of you that work at any kind of security clearance cannot have a foreclosure on your record. So, and what else?
Well, these days, I have somebody that I'm good friends with that was trying to rent and can't. Like she's been turned down 3 or 4 times because her credit's not good enough. And it's like, what do you do when you're in the middle of that situation? And so the best time to start is long before you need your credit. It's like a tool in your toolbox. You got to keep it shiny and pretty. And more to do anything, you have to have a decent credit score to do anything. When it comes down to being able to rent a place to live and you have no control because there's land owners, owners of properties, they're selling their houses like crazy right now. And so that was her situation. She had lived in this house for a year and a half, 2 years, something like that, or even more maybe. And they put a note on her door. She has to leave in 30 days because they're selling the property. The lease was up. And so now she's trying to scramble to find a place to even rent. And she can't rent because her credit scores aren't high enough. And so I just think it's so relevant right now to get control of your money and figure out your situation. And I don't know what that situation is. Maybe you are in over your head. Maybe bankruptcy is the best idea. I never know what somebody should do until I kind of look at it. And then, of course, if it's bankruptcy, we defer to a lawyer and have them talk to a lawyer about that. But I at least look at it first, because personally, I've made every mistake you can make on a credit report. And so that's why I want to help people so bad not make some of the same mistakes that I made. It doesn't have to be like the mom that lets the kid fall, right? It's like we teach people to not make some of the same silly mistakes that we made. And so,
If you know the story, as I always say in real estate investing, if you know the story, you can better position it so that it's a win-win for everybody. If you have things that are going on in your personal credit and you're like, well, and you feel helpless, like reach out to Becky. She'll get the story and then she'll put a strategy together. Right. And so like we can say all kinds of different ways you can do things here, give you a tip for this, that, and this, and this, and that. But what it really is if you come into an actual consultation, right? And they're free. So you can book a call with Becky, the credit coach queen. What's the best way that they can reach you, Beck?
Oh, just go to my website. All roads lead to my website. So creditcoachqueen.com is the very best way to find me. And yeah, you can, there's a place on there and to set up appointments, super simple. And then get on a call and we'll go through your situation. And what I really like is pre-action. And
Yeah.
so instead of reaction, I think we were just talking about that. And we were just talking about a book. Like right before we got on here, we were talking about a book that has this really snazzy quote. But pre-action instead of being reactive to things. And so if you know you might be getting a divorce or you know you're getting a divorce, then let's go through the rules of what happens when you go through a divorce so that like, hey, you could be pre-active about this because I get so many people calling me at the end of a divorce and they're like, yeah. And a lot of times you're going through an emotional trauma,
Yeah.
very emotional, and people don't care about the credit until after it's all done. But some of that stuff could have been avoided. And a lot of people believe that it's in the divorce decrees, so it goes away off your credit, and it does not. And so that's
Two
the
separate worlds, right? It's two
yeah,
separate worlds. What
it
you do
has
over here on the divorce decree does not uh,
negate.
automatically go to your credit report. So know that going in. And there's so many other things too. So many detrimental things that happen. People having to close their business. And so their personal life falls apart, right? And they may have personally guaranteed stuff. Like we'll get into business credit. I think we did that on podcast number 2, right?
Yep.
We did a lot about business credit. Uh, we'll probably spend a few more times in it that you can refer to moving forward because there's all kinds of strategy that goes with that. But losing your house, having to, not have a job. You couldn't go to your job through this whole pandemic. And so who paid your bills? And so a lot of people have credit issues right now due to the pandemic, maybe, and a lot of us were not mentally healthy through this whole pandemic. And that leads to financial ruin and divorce and even death, right? And I'm not making light of any of those things. Are real issues that need to be addressed. So, and when you're going through certain things like that, the last thing you think of is your credit. And that's why Becky ends up cleaning up people's credit when you can be a little bit more proactive, if you have the mindset to do so in the beginning, right? Being proactive is really where the win is. And then, of course, if you haven't, Becky, how many credit reports have you cleaned up? Like, really, let's get the statistics here.
Analyzed over 6,500, probably cleaned up around 4,000. So, and the number just keeps going up every month. So I just keep going at it. So it's awesome.
So you want someone who's actually like cleaning up your credit, doing the work, and has a history of cleaning up credit, right? And not just cleaning up credit, but strategically. So once she gets your story and sees what's on the credit to clean up, then we put you in a position, right, that makes it so that you're building it towards the direction you want to go for your future. Right. I know that might have been a mouthful, but knowing the story, which is why you need to get on a call with Becky, knowing the story is what's going to help her to direct you in the right direction, because it's not a one size fits all. Everything is different for everybody. And so again, we can make cookie cutter tips here and go, oh, do this, how many credit cards do you have? No. None of that really works in generic form. Like the story needs to come forward, right? Like, I hope you didn't close any accounts, or, we're just like trying to be proactive with you. Becky is just amazing at what she does. So I would go to the creditcoachqueen.com, right?
Yeah.
And call with her. And what have you got to lose? What's a consultation? It's totally free. You get to spill your story and get a plan.
Yep.
Like I wish I would have had that years ago, right?
Me too. That's what I love about what we both do, because you do the same thing with houses. Like you get the story and then you figure out how to put it all together. And so why that's so valuable. I think people don't really think about this, but why that's so valuable is because we spend so much time in our head, like, oh, I don't want to look at it. Oh, I don't want to figure it out. Oh, maybe if I do this, maybe if I do that, maybe I could do it this way. And so it's like taking somebody like Joanna or like me and taking 30 minutes to look at it. And then we look at it with our vast experience and say, oh, well, do this, do this, do this, do this. And so that's what a good coach is. And that's what having a good coach is all about, is it takes 30 minutes to figure your life out, to take you to the next level that you want to get to. So anyway, I feel like I need to give some other little small tip. And so
What's one thing that they could do to make their credit all by themselves without even a phone call? Like what? Just give them some candy.
sure, I love candy. And so yeah, so I would say that make sure that when you're trying to build good credit, to have like a small installment loan and a small credit card. And just with the credit card, buy a tank of gas once a month and pay it off. And with the installment loan, like make sure that you're just making those steady Eddie payments, and actually doing both types at the same time increases your score by 60%. And so if you already have a car, then you're already making an installment loan payment, so you don't need that. If you already have credit cards, don't go get more. Like the sweet spot with the credit bureaus is no more than 2 to 3 credit cards. And so if you have 10, don't go close them, because you're already,
That's the big one. I go hear that one. Don't close them. Because
yeah.
what?
Well, because you're already building that history. So
Yeah.
history
Gets
is
rid of all your
credit
history.
score. Yeah. And so then you close it, and then you closed out all that history. And then
Yeah.
we're going to do another part to this talk. And part 2 is going to be all about how, once you do have the foundation, once you do have the good credit scores, how to use that credit to actually work for you. And so I can't wait to dive into that subject.
Super. Look for the strategy podcast. It will be strategy in the headline for credit repair. All right.
Yep.
So I feel complete in this moment. If there's anything else you want to share, you guys want to comment down below, any questions that you have, we'll get back to those, and we'll see you in the next podcast.